Lisa Westheimer. I thought if I stuck the G in there, that maybe I'd go in the middle instead of towards the end. Thank you all for coming. Sacred art is a major theme of my work. My primary media are ceramics and glass, and my pieces are just as much science experiments as art. Thomas Edison said his greatest successes were born from failed experiments, and I go about my art making with that in mind. Some call my firing methods alternative process, while others call it crazy. I can be found outside at the crack of dawn in the middle of winter, throwing wood and mothballs into my kiln, or dressed up like a beekeeper, putting red-hot ware into garbage cans full of paper while they burst into flame. No barbecue grill in my property is safe from being turned into a kiln. But this is how I breathe life into my work. I collaborate with chemicals and fire to perform my own little brand of what I call contemplative alchemy. My sculptures adhere to what I call structured organics. They have a set design to a point and then go off and do their own strange thing like some weird topiary plant. Buildings have always fascinated me, especially houses of worship. What happens in them can be comforting, happy, traumatic, or sad. And I tend to think these places contain the residue of emotions left behind by the people who pass through them. With that said, I developed a series of cathedrals. They're fashioned in the pilgrimage style where one can wander around the periphery without disturbing the ceremony going on in the middle. And I have little pilgrims wandering around inside them, as well as sanctuaries and statues for them to visit inside. This one is Holy Innocence, a contemplation of scriptural and contemporary issues. This is Ascension, which is more traditionally based with strict scriptural references above the portals. This is Corpus Christi, with references to tortures of the flesh. It has people being tortured, and demons, and cloaked figures, and hands offering help, and all kinds of good stuff in there. Then I've created a series of cathedrals that have specific purposes, like this one that I call Purgatorium. It's where you go to purge yourself of worldly attachments in the hope of becoming perfect enough to visit this one, which is Perfection. This is where you go when you're perfect. And this one is always empty. And finally, I have a mighty fortress, which is where to go during extreme crisis and terrorist attack. And this is where I went mentally on September 11th and during Superstorm Sandy. And I'll probably be found there tonight with this coming storm. Another recurring theme is houses for the Hotai. Little resin statues of them are sold in packs of 6 in Chinatown, and they just fascinate me. Hotai are monks who wander around the world carrying a sack and a specific object. They travel around removing sadness from people, putting it in their sack. Then they give out gifts symbolized by the objects they hold. Health, happiness, laughter, prosperity, all kinds of good things. I figure, what with the condition the world is in these days, they must be totally fried and exhausted. Their bags of sadness bursting, their gifts all banged up, sore feet, everything. So I made refuges for them to go and take a load off and recharge their batteries. This is Hotai Hideaway, and you can see them all in there hanging out together, having a good time. This one is Hotai Hideout. And I specifically made the floor of green-blue glass like water so they could dip their sore feet in and pull them off. This is Hotai Hotel, where each one of them has his own room, but it's open so that they can all commiserate and have a few laughs together. And finally, this is Laughing Buddha, who's symbolized by the ball he's holding. This one is a series of 6 where each of the Hotai has his own little shrine. purposes that artists can set their minds to make people think about things they've never considered, see things they've never realized before, tap into emotions that are foreign to them. My purpose, one I feel quite strongly about, is that through my creations, I hope to give some measure of comfort to a harried and tempest-tossed viewer, and let them know that they're not alone, and that they can come inside my work and rest. Thank you.